In this episode, we chat with ShortyKnits, a longtime cacher from the Chicago area. She's been a podcast host, traveled the continental U.S., and overcome an interesting challenge. We've had some tips if you are just getting started with caching, and also some great advice for putting together Adventure Lab series. All right, so let's set our go-to and dig in. Welcome to Cache Like a Girl, the podcast where we celebrate the incredible stories of women geocachers. I'm Lookout Lisa, founder of Cache Advance and the Cache Crate, and a passionate geocacher since 2002. In each episode, you'll find inspiration to fuel your geocaching adventures. Let's cache like a girl and make our mark on the map. All right, well, welcome to Cache Like a Girl. So for today's episode, I've got a special guest, ShortyKnits, also known as Jessie Brown. So welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. I think we finally met in person this summer, and it's great to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, thanks. So I'd love to know, ShortyKnits, that's an interesting name. How the heck did you pick that or choose that or come up with that for your geocaching name?
Well, I am short. I'm barely 5 feet, and I knit. That is my other main hobby in life. I geocache and I knit. And so ShortyKnits was just a nickname that I had come up with as, an online handle and email, and it just seemed natural to bring it over into the geocaching world when I created my account.
Well, that's awesome. My sister tried to teach me how to knit when I was like 6, I think. I have an older sister. Didn't work so well. So kudos to you to keep it going.
It just wasn't the right time yet, or you didn't have the right project, but I do think everyone can knit.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. Trying to take lessons from your older sister when you're a kid doesn't always work. You're right.
Yeah.
That's great. So I saw you at Midwest Geobash this year.
Yep.
And that was so much fun. I hadn't been there in a long time. Do you go to that event often? Is that your area?
That is my favorite mega event to go to. I've been to, I think, 8 or 9 of them since 2013. I think I missed one. It is my all-time favorite event. It's about 4 hours from where I live. And it's just such a great get-together. The caches are fantastic every year. It's a different theme. And it's really more of a social mega. And so there's lots of side events and gathering, and there's a poker run and path tag trading and just all kinds of really great, all kinds of social happenings. So it is my favorite, and you can camp there. So it's fantastic.
Even best. Yeah, even better.
Right.
Yeah, I hadn't been back in many years, and so glad I finally did get a chance to go. And it's on my calendar, and I'm dragging Kid Vegas 19 to it again.
Excellent.
He's only been through the area. He hasn't actually been there during the event.
Okay. Yeah, it's a great location and lots of good caches all around.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. So how did you start geocaching?
I heard about caching actually through my aunt. She heard about it through some friends and mentioned that it might be something kind of fun for me. I started caching in 2011, and at the time I was newly divorced with a young son, about 5 years old. And so I was looking for fun things that we could do that were inexpensive. Ha, 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 right? But the first couple of years of caching was just me and my son. And it was something that we did a lot of times on vacations. I actually had more finds out of state than I did in my own home state for the first year or so. And it was just something we did to go, on adventures. We'd go find parks and hiking trails, and he seemed to enjoy it when he was young, and then as he grew up, he kind of lost interest, and then it took on a life of its own for me, and really became a lifestyle for me.
Oh, I can so relate to that. Yeah. Becoming a lifestyle. Our friends are geocachers.
Yep.
We know places by, that used to be XYZ cache that was there.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Does your son cache anymore still?
He will tolerate it. He'll go with me. He's 18 now.
Okay.
And he has his own interests, one of which is hunting down rare trains, which I don't
Oh,
quite understand, but I understand the concept and you know, um, the idea behind it and his interests. And so we go on trips, just the two of us. We've gone on tons and tons of road trips where what he's seeking, there's also a cache there. So we have a lot of the same locations that we want to go together. And
mm.
so even though I'm not looking for the trains and he's not looking for the caches, it seemed to work really well. And we've gone on some really amazing road trips together.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad that you guys can
Mhm.
incorporate the two things
Yep.
and still, have your time together as a family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I've definitely seen over the years that kids love geocaching until they're about 12.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
and then, they start, making friends, more friends outside of school,
Hmm.
dating, activities, sports, what have you. And yeah, geocaching. They often come back though after college.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that happening.
Yeah. Good. So have you hidden many geocaches?
I ironically, I haven't hid as many as I feel like I should. Um, I don't feel like I'm very creative, even though, I am a crafter and I'm a knitter. I'm creative in that realm. But when it comes
Mhm.
to creating experiences, I don't feel like I'm very creative. And so I've left that up to other people to do more. But I did just hit 100 hides. So I put out a special letterbox for my 100th hide. Um, and then hit a few others, including one, ironically, called Cash Like a Girl. I had some pink camo duct tape, and I thought, well, this seems like a great theme for the cache. And so I hid one called Cash Like a Girl, and then I talked to you and was like, oh my goodness, it's like Kismet. um, but yeah, I mean, I think there's that statistic that's the your caching karma, right? And my caching karma is
Mm.
very low. My finds compared to my hides. So I need to get out and hide some more.
Well, 100 is still quite a bit, so that's well done. Yeah, you'll have
Thanks.
to let me know the GC code of the Cash Like a Girl one.
I sure will.
Yeah,
Yes, I will.
yeah.
I'll
We'll
send
put
that
it
to
in the
you.
show notes for sure.
Okay. Yep.
That's awesome. Well, you mentioned knitting and not being very creative and, not hiding creative caches. You gave me an idea, food for thought, if you haven't done it already, a puzzle cache around different, maybe knitting
Mm-hmm.
maneuvers or something like that. So,
Yeah. I've solved a few that are that way that, of
uh,
course I'm drawn to.
mhm.
But I haven't created any knitting puzzles myself. So yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay. Well, I challenge you for that.
Challenge accepted. I'll
Okay,
send it to you
awesome.
when
All
it's
right.
out.
Awesome. Cool. I'll get a full report at Midwest Geobash, perhaps.
For sure.
Also, what's the most memorable or unique cache that you have found?
That's a great question. One particular cache that's I anytime somebody comes to Chicago and they say, what's the best cache in the area? We have a lot of really, really good caches here.
Yeah.
But my all-time favorite cache is one called Vampire Empire.
Mm.
And it's a letterbox cache that shows you a part of Chicago that most people don't know exist. There's actually a whole city underneath the city. There's a series of tunnels that are connected through the basements of the skyrise buildings, and then the subways connect to them, and you can actually get around the city without ever having to go outside. And so this letterbox takes you on a tour of what's called the Chicago Pedway underneath the city.
Wow.
And it was, I've lived here since the late 80s, and I never knew that it existed until I went to do this geocache, and I was shocked. So that one's probably the most memorable and one that I
Yeah.
highly recommend. And I can send you the GC on that as well. You can put that in the
Yeah,
notes.
absolutely. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
great.
Yeah, yeah. I know when I lived in Houston, there was a lot of underground tunnels that were connecting different buildings. And like
Mhm.
at the campus at University of Houston, I could get from building to building without
Right.
getting wet. Because, it rains a little
Yeah.
bit in
Yeah.
Houston.
Yeah. Yeah. But we
Yeah, but
have
that was
winters
before
here.
caching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So out of the winter weather for sure. Cool. Well, I love that
Yeah.
idea. S- Spin your biggest geocaching challenge. And what did you do to achieve it or overcome that challenge?
Biggest challenge. Wow. I mean, when you
Yeah.
say challenge, I think about like challenge caches and things that I've worked towards.
We could go that direction. Sure.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, honestly though, like if we just want to talk in general about,
Yeah.
challenges in general and things that I've overcome because of caching, I'm an introvert. Believe it or not. I know people have a hard time, understanding that. But I truly am an introvert. And so, co-hosting a podcast and going to events and, being in the public eye as much as I have been over the past few years, really put me out of my comfort zone.
Mhm.
Um, but it's really made me a lot more comfortable in social situations that I maybe would have avoided in the past.
Mhm.
I know that's not exactly what you asked, but I do think that that's a big part of caching for me is the events and really the social aspect of it. And
Mhm.
it's really helped me kind of come out of my shell. You always have something to talk about with cachers at an event. You don't have to try to come up with small talk. It's there,
Mhm.
So for me, that's really been a big part of caching.
Yeah, I can quite relate to that too. Because I'm a bit of an introverted extrovert, I
Hmm.
guess, or an
Yep.
extroverted introvert. I don't know.
Right.
Depends on the situation, right? And
Exactly.
yes, like you said, being in the public eye, people know us before we know
Hmm.
them
Right.
occasionally. But we're all cashers. So it's like,
Hmm.
you meet somebody and suddenly we're all best friends.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can relate to that for sure. That's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So speaking of your podcast, and being on podcast, how did you get started with podcasting and what have you done?
Mhm. So I was a co-host on the geocaching podcast
Mhm.
from 2018 till just earlier in this year. Um, and that was through Scott Burks, who is also one of the co-hosts of the show.
Mhm.
Um, and along with that, we had our patron videos and all kinds of other social media and all those kinds of things. And hosting the show was great. We really built a community. Our chat room every week, it was the same people, and so you get to know each other, and it was really great to see the friendships being formed, in the chat room and like projects coming out of that. People, you can see people talking like, oh, we should do this. This would be really great. And seeing, like the Route 66 Adventure Labs, or
Yes.
the Lincoln Highway Adventure Labs and some other projects that, like came to fruition in the chat room of the podcast. So that was really fun to see and to know, that you're a part of.
Yeah. And those really took on a life of their own and involved hundreds of people.
Mm-hmm.
And thousands of
Yeah.
people have probably gone through and done a lot of those
Yeah.
Adventure Lab series and
Right.
such. So,
Right.
yeah, kudos to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And I was fortunate enough to be the state coordinator for the Illinois portion of the Route 66. So I love Route 66 in Illinois anyway. I'm very familiar with it. And so I got to, really dive in and figure out what stretches, how to divide it up and assign it to people. And
Mhm.
so that was a really, really cool project to be a part of. Scott, GSM times two, did a great job putting that all together.
Yes. Yes, he did. Yeah, he and I were communicating throughout that project, and
Mhm.
and we actually did the coins for
Oh,
them.
right.
I think I
Mhm.
have yeah, got one right here.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
one
and
of
there was
those
a
as well.
special
Those are great.
yeah, there were
Mhm.
special versions that were made just for the
Mhm.
organizers and folks that put out
Yep.
Adventure Labs.
Yep.
Yeah, so got me thinking. I've been contemplating or there's been talk in our area about putting together a geo art or something with adventure labs. So, what tips or best practices would you have for organizing something a little bit bigger than just one adventure lab?
Mm, what tips? Plan it out ahead of time for
Okay.
sure.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think, really knowing ahead of time what your format is going to be. Do you want everything to be the same? Do you want multiple choice? Do you want people to actually have to go to the locations? How big of a radius do you want? I would say try to be consistent in all of
Yeah.
them. I'm currently working on an adventure lab that is going to be part of uh, a new geo art in downtown Chicago, that's based on the L in Chicago here. And so, that's one thing that we need to make sure is that they're all the same. All of your locations are within one region you're posted, but then people are going to be going pretty far to get to all of these other stops on the L. And I just feel like they should be consistent in how they're done, how they're worded, the naming of them, that kind of thing, so that you know exactly what you're looking at when you see them.
Yeah, no, that completely makes sense. Yeah. So I've done power trails and, worked with the group for putting some of those together and geo tours as well. So a lot of those best practices really are the same naming convention, same kind
Mm-hmm.
of theme and look. And so the hider or the finder has a consistent experience and they
Right.
know, I've done this one. So this next one's going to be similar and
Mm-hmm.
not throw them for too many loops, obviously,
Right.
but
Right.
yeah, still
Yeah,
take them to cool
exactly.
places. Yeah.
Hmm.
So the
Yeah.
L, that's public transport, I'm assuming?
Correct. Yeah, the
Okay.
elevated train would, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's 5 or 6 different lines, and they all go in different directions, and some meet up, and there's a whole history of them. So yeah, it's you can get all over town.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait till that goes live. It'll be fun to check that out for
Yep.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. So, geocaching often takes us to really unique places. What's some of your favorite or maybe your very most favorite location and why?
So geocaching has really been my tour guide, especially over the past 10 to 12 years. I started caching in 2011, but then I really took off in like 2013. That was when I got the bug, and it was more than just a vacation hobby. And I've planned entire road trips, vacations, even family vacations have been centered around certain caches or, certain locations. I don't know that I have any one particular place, but there definitely have been trips that have been very memorable. Um, I flew to Atlanta and met up with a cacher from New Hampshire and went and found the oldest in Georgia, and we just had a great time with that. Um, of course, going to Seattle for the 20th, that whole trip was absolutely fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know that I have any one. I did in 2021, I did enough road trips that I visited 45 states in 1 year. So that was incredibly memorable. It
Yeah.
was kind of a whirlwind, and there were maybe 6 or 7 separate trips that got me to all of those states, and it was absolutely fantastic. Uh, So yeah, it's really and for me, it's more about the experience, um, the sights. The I love road trips. I love just seeing the scenery and the amazing vastness of this country, from the lakes to the rivers to the fields to the everything. Um, and just seeing how amazing our country is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love a good road trip too.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it took me 20 years to get all 20 or all 50 1 states. Um,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Geocaching actually counts Washington D.C.
Right.
as a state.
Yeah.
So I had
Yeah.
50 for a long time until I finally made it to Alaska. And
Okay.
yeah, and definitely geocaching. It was geocaching driven to go. Another 20
Mhm.
miles, we get across the
Yes.
state border and have a whole new
Yes.
experience. Mhm.
Yes. Yep, for sure. And some of those, oh, just one more town, it's just, 10 minutes away. Those have been the some of the best
Yeah,
towns to just come across.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Probably
been
never
great.
would have stopped there otherwise, right?
Exactly. Right,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
So I still have Hawaii and Alaska to get to, but I've done the whole lower 48 in DC since I've been a casher.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so yeah, I have those last two, and I'm making some plans. I'll get
Oh,
to those.
good. It's good to have
So
goal.
yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
And right
Yeah.
now I'm on a county kick. So
Mm.
everywhere I go, I'm like, okay, if I just go 10 more minutes, I'll get a new county. Or I'll just,
Yep.
just one more. And so that's been my goal this year. Actually, that's what I've been working on the last couple of years is trying to find more counties. So that's
Awesome. Have you
that's
got
been
your
really
DeLorme
fun.
done? Does
I
Illinois have a
do.
DeLorme?
Yes, and I do double check both everywhere I go. Yeah,
Hmm.
so I've completed all of Illinois counties in DeLorme, and I've completed Indiana counties in DeLorme. And then I have quite a few that I'm almost through, so won't be long
Okay, so you're getting there. Awesome.
getting there.
Yeah, when I finished the Washington State DeLorme, the county challenge wasn't a thing.
Oh,
So, so now I need to go back.
you have to go
But
back. Oh my gosh.
yeah, and we're a big
Yeah,
state, but that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Again, I love a good road trip. So,
Well,
yeah,
right now you have an excuse to go. I'm
exactly.
I'm never sad, like
Mhm.
if I missed a county, oh darn, I just have to go back, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Another road trip. That's right. So, are there other challenge caches that you're working on right now?
There really isn't anything specific that I'm working
Okay.
on.
Uh-huh.
Back like 10 years ago, I was very, very active on specific challenges, and I was always working towards one particular challenge. And now, you know, it sounds kind of funny, but I feel like there are very few challenges that I don't qualify for, or I would have to work really hard to get to. I mean, although I do have one challenge right down the street that's find a cache in Iceland. So, I could I need to figure out how to qualify for that one. Um, but I, after I hit, I don't know, 10 or 12,000 finds, a lot of the challenges became pretty easy.
Yeah.
And then there's others. I feel like I either already qualify for them or I'll never qualify for them. So, um, yeah, but
Uh-huh.
really it's just about the locations for me right now.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I'm in a similar spot as well with quite a few caches under my belt,
Hmm.
but they're far flung because I tend to
Right.
do most of my caching more than 1,000 miles from home. Okay. Due to traveling to mega events around
Sure.
and then taking extra time to find those caches. So, yeah.
Yeah.
As a woman in the geocaching community, do you have any unique perspectives to share with our listeners?
Um, that's a great question. I used to feel like women were far outnumbered in our community. If you walk into a social event, a coffee or a dinner event or whatever, it would be 75% men and 25% women back in the day. And I don't think that's really the case anymore, not in our region. In fact, I was at an event a few weeks ago where the women actually outnumbered the men. Um, and I don't think it's necessarily becoming more of a woman's hobby or, anything like that. I think it probably appeals to women a lot more than it used to.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think that, there's caches out there for everyone. They're not all hikes in the woods. They're not all parking
Yes.
grabs. You can find anything that fits you, that fits your abilities. that fits your lifestyle and your time frame. Um, so yeah, I do think that it's important for women in general just to get out and, we can be just as, I don't even know what the word is. I don't want to say active because obviously we are, but I mean, I can climb a tree just like any other guy.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of times I feel like we can probably do that easier because we tend to be smaller and lighter. Um,
Yeah,
but
I'm often the tree climber. They'll
right,
boost me up. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, right. Once you get me up there, I can scurry up. Um,
Yeah. Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, I think it's fantastic that there are more and more women in the hobby.
Mhm. Yeah, I would agree for sure. When I started caching, there were definitely a lot more guys caching. And I think the barriers to entry have really come down over the years. You didn't need to have an expensive GPS and you didn't have to hike, big mountains.
Right,
Now you can just look on your phone while you're, out running errands or going to work
right,
or what have you. Yeah. So yeah,
right.
I'm definitely seeing a lot more women. And that's a big reason why I've started this podcast project, is to give voice to more women geocachers to help encourage other women that are just getting started or, learn more about the game as they go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So, yeah,
fantastic.
thanks. Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
I really like this idea a lot.
Good, good. Yeah. Um, so speaking of women just getting started or anybody just getting started, what piece of advice would you give to somebody that's fairly new to geocaching?
Don't give up. Just because you don't find what you're looking for doesn't mean it's not there. It just
Yep.
means you're not quite ready to find that one yet. Um, I often tell the story. I started my account, I heard about geocaching and I thought, oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. And so I created my account and I went out and I searched and I didn't find the cache. And then a few days later, I went out and I searched again and I didn't find the cache. And then I went again and again and again. And it took me, I'm not exaggerating, it took me a full month of looking every few days for a different cache. I never went back to try to find the same one over and over. I was like, okay, well, I didn't find that. I'll go try to find this one. And I couldn't find that one
Mhm.
either. And I couldn't. Um, and then I finally found the first one and it like that feeling of, oh my gosh, I finally found it. It was so cool. Um, don't give up. They're there.
Mhm.
That's number one. And number two is make it your own. Do cache the way that you want to cache.
Love it.
Don't listen to other people telling you, well, you have to do it this way, or you can only find this kind of cache, or, you have to, who cares? Just go and have fun. Make it your
Mhm.
own game. Do with it what you want. Cache as often or as, rarely as you want. Find the kind of caches that you enjoy and have fun with it.
I love that advice. That's great. Yeah, thank you so much for that. All right. I guess I've got one final question. It's kind of an
Okay.
oddball.
Okay.
Um, is there anything, what would be something unusual that you might that you carry in your geocaching bag?
Something unusual that I carry. Um, I I carry a few odd things. I carry a spare pair of socks always.
Mhm.
I carry a ruler, like just a 12-inch wooden school ruler,
Mhm.
because I found that it comes in handy for any number of things, for reaching into things, for I don't know. I've used it for I need some sort of long tool. And I carry an extendable magnet that's
Mhm.
come in handy oftentimes as well.
Yeah, one that you pull out and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
can
Yep.
down into
Yep. Help
poles or
help
what
find
have
an
you.
ammo can in the snow or, pull
Yes.
a bison tube out of a hole or, any number of things I could use that for.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Sure.
This has been a fun question I've been asking a lot of my guests.
Mm.
And as a gear company, I always like to know what people are carrying in their bags.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So, yeah, yeah, cool. Well, do you have any other tidbits or anything that you'd like to share on our show?
I mean, nothing specific, just to have fun, enjoy caching, make friends.
Mhm.
It really, like I said, it really is a social
Yes.
thing for me, get out and meet people, and just have fun with it.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Well, thank you again, Jessie, for
Absolutely.
being on our show. Appreciate your time today,
Sure.
and looking forward to seeing you again out on the trail.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Thanks so much for having me.
Cool. Thank you. Bye-bye. Before we sign off, remember this. Geocaching isn't just about the finds. It's about the stories, the places, and the confidence you gain along the way. Like Jessie shared, it's your game, so make it your own. And if you're inspired, take that next road trip, hide that cache, or say yes to your next caching adventure.